Entrepreneurially Thinking is a presentation of BioSTL and CET, Center for Emerging Technologies, with Rare Gem Productions, changing the way you view new ventures, including you on the pathway to success with your business in the St. Louis marketplace and beyond. Here's your hosts, Cheryl and Christy. Now let's get thinking entrepreneurially.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurially Thinking podcast. Our goal is to energize your entrepreneurial mindset and create pathways for business success in the St. Louis marketplace and beyond. I'm Christy Maxfield.
And I'm Dr. Cheryl Watkins-Moore, the Director for Bioscience and Entrepreneurial Inclusion at BioSTL. Hey, girl.
Hi. So if you've been listening for a while, you know Cheryl's with BioSTL. I've been working with CET for several years, and we are part of the St. Louis startup ecosystem. So we're really glad that you're here with us, whether this is your 40-some-odd episode with us or if you're just new to the podcast. We're really glad you found us.
Yes.
We're busy, as always. By the time this airs, will be probably 2 weeks out from having done from doing the Vision Conference.
Yes, which was an outstanding event.
Yeah.
Dr. Johnson was here in town.
Thank him for making the trip.
Yes, it was great.
And inspiring our young entrepreneurs. I know he spent time with NSBE.
Yes,
and
the National Society of Black Engineers.
Yes, and their young people the night before, and then spent a wonderful day with us. And so it's just one of those many opportunities here in St. Louis, and hopefully wherever you're starting your company, where you can get connected to a larger ecosystem of folks and support. And so, that's what we do here at Entrepreneurially Thinking. We connect people. We make sure that we can inspire you to be entrepreneurial wherever you are.
Yes.
And at least in our region, the next thing coming up that I think is of note is Startup Connection. It's the single largest gathering of entrepreneurs in our region, and I think upwards of 1,200 people attended last year. So
if you're an entrepreneur or thinking about entrepreneurship,
Google Startup Connection St. Louis. You'll find it. You can register. It's all good, all great, and we hope to see you there.
Yep.
It's one of those events where you can pop in and pop out, and so we hope you'll pop.
Yeah.
Hey, pop is a thing,
we want you to
right?
pop.
Pop is a thing.
Pop the business
pop
open. There you go.
Exactly.
Yes.
Raise the roof and have some fun. Whatever. I think I've just plagiarized somebody's lyrics. And make sure that you've subscribed to us, whether you're on iTunes or you're finding us on Spreaker, whatever your favorite streaming platform is. We're also all over Facebook and Twitter, LinkedIn, and you can find us at entrepreneuriallythinking.com. So who are we talking to today?
Well, you know what? If you classify yourself as a small business owner, an entrepreneur, someone with a side hustle.
Yeah, I think all those.
Yes, looking to grow into your full-time dream, you are in for a treat today. We have two fabulous women.
We do.
Lynn Haynes, Director of MBE Services, and that's Minority Business Enterprise Services, and Rhonda Carter-Adams, who is a good friend of mine. She is the Executive Director for the Central Illinois and Eastern Missouri area, representing the Mid-States Minority Supplier Development Council with us today.
We've had some guests on before who are in different capacities with the council as well.
Yes.
Right?
So this would be great to
Mercedes. I think Mercedes, when Mercedes was on, that she had also been involved. Yes, I'm getting head nods.
Okay.
Hello,
She's got
Mercedes.
a great memory.
My short-term memory might not be great, but I remember Mercedes. You are correct.
That is good. So, yes, we have these individuals here today. And if you say, what organization is that and why are they important to me? Well,
and what are all those letters?
What are all those?
You might recall from an earlier podcast, too, that I've had a lengthy conversation with Kevin Wilson and said, explain it to me.
Yes.
And 13 acronyms later, I was like, okay, I'm just going to have people call you.
Yes.
Okay.
So, yes, we're going to explain all of that to you today. But I think what's really important, we have a minority business enterprise here today as well. Regents Maintenance and Supply, and its president, Lamonte Sowell, who will tell his story of how this organization has impacted him and his company. You see, just to provide some background, the Mid-States Minority Supplier Development Council is an affiliate of the National Minority Supplier Development Council and one of 23 regional councils operating in the U.S. Some of this stuff I didn't even know until we did some background. MId-States MSDC, known colloquially, was created by the Indianapolis business community in the mid-'70s to address and support minority business development. So this is not some just little upstart.
No.
They've been around for a long time.
We now have guests coming in from Indianapolis as well, which is really cool.
Yes. They are headquartered in Indianapolis, Indiana. The primary mission of MId-States is to promote and cultivate successful minority enterprises within the Central Illinois, Indiana, and Eastern Missouri business communities. It serves as an advocate for the economic well-being and growth of certified, and I'm going to say that again, certified minority business enterprises. And we're going to talk about why that's important.
Yeah.
While also providing a direct connection, which I love this piece, for corporations who are committed to purchasing products and services from Mid-States certified MBEs. So if you are listening right now, you need to turn the knob up, the volume up on your smartphone or whatever you got.
Make sure you can hear us over the treadmill.
Yes. Because you're going to want to learn more about this organization and how they can benefit you. So stay listening.
Now here's Make It Happen with Keith Sales Pro.
As an entrepreneur, I've learned these 4 things that no one tells you about entrepreneurship. Number 1, there is a sense of isolation that is really profound. We're all used to being part of a reference group. When you're an employee of an established business, you have colleagues. When you're in college, you have classmates. Number 2, most businesses provide a lifestyle and a job, but they don't provide wealth. For example, most restaurant owners probably take home an income that is not much greater than that made by a restaurant manager at a popular chain. Number 3, it usually takes many years to build a business. I've run several businesses in my lifetime. Very simple businesses, moderately simple businesses, and very complicated businesses. Number 4, you have to manage people. When running a business, you're constantly managing not just employees and vendors, but customers as well. If you love what you're doing and you like business, being an entrepreneur could be a great thing. It's certainly good for the country, but recognize that it may not live up to the picture painted in the popular media. Today, remember, it can happen. It will happen. And together, we will make it happen.
Follow Keith Sales Pro on Facebook or Twitter at Keith Sales Pro, or visit his website at keithsalespro.com.
It can happen. It will happen. And together, we will make it happen.
Lamonte Sowell, owner and president of Regents Maintenance Supply. What entrepreneurship means to me is no limitations, being in control of your own destiny, and the possibility to lead an inheritance for your children.
Lynn, Rhonda, Lamont, thank you so much for making time for us. As we mentioned, you not only came from the St. Louis area, but in from Indianapolis, which is huge. We really appreciate you making the time to do that. And if you could start us off, Rhonda, you're our local representative, correct?
I am.
So can you explain, we've had all those acronyms and you got really long company names. And so could you, if our listeners are tracking sort of, how do you fit into this pile?
I will certainly do that. First of all, thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
We're super excited to be here. Super excited to reach a broader audience with regards to what we do for corporations and minority businesses. So, me, what do I do?
Yes.
What are all those letters?
Right.
I am the executive director of the Mid-States Minority Supplier Development Council. For short, we say Mid-States.
Okay.
So the Mid-States Council, as stated earlier, we are one of 23 affiliates of a national organization, and many business owners out there might know that national organization as the National Minority Supplier Development Council.
Yes.
So that's the NMSDC. It takes a little while to practice that, so you're not going to be able to say that right
No,
away.
I'm not going to try
I'm not going to even attempt that. Exactly.
And so although this council, this affiliate council is headquartered in Indianapolis, we serve a tri-state area, right? So we serve the business interests, corporate interests, and MBEs of Indiana outside of the Chicago-Gary, Indiana area, Illinois outside of Metro Chicago, and Missouri, half the state of Missouri. Wow. I don't know why National did that, but we cover all the way up to Columbia.
So y'all got gerrymandering going on within your organization,
absolutely.
Right?
It's yes. Our council is no exception to that. So me, what do I do as executive director then? So for the Illinois coverage and the Missouri coverage, I really serve as that liaison and that responsible party for ensuring that we obtain corporate interest. I develop relationships with corporate America, those organizations who are committed to
and
serving.
Not just minority corporations. This is any
no
type of corporation.
Private sector, large corporations, from an Express Scripts to a smaller local entity such as the St. Louis County Library. Okay. So we cover that territory to ensure that we're connecting with corporations and organizations who have a commitment and want to connect with minority business owners. So my colleague will talk to you about that certification piece of it.
Yes.
But what I do and what my role is, it serves to function to connect them.
That's
develop those relationships, advocate for them, yes, but also
that's what's key. I think for a lot of our minority businesses, not just being able to scale and grow a successful business, but being able to, as we hear all the time, most of the minority enterprises, they want to get these large contracts from corporates, right? So you help to facilitate that and advocate then for those organizations.
I know we have questions around the minority certification piece, but before we jump there, when I see supplier, I conjure up a certain kind of company. So how do you define supplier, and then how does that mesh with being, because if I'm a minority business owner but I'm not a supplier, where do I go, I guess would be my question. And is supplier broad enough to sort of encompass a whole bunch of things that maybe I'm not thinking of?
Okay. Well, I'll address that, but then I'm going to allow my colleague who's the director of MBE services expand on that.
And jump in whenever. This isn't a wait your turn kind of thing. This is
we don't wait our turn.
I don't wait my turn.
Okay, so good point. So in a previous role, I served as supplier diversity lead or manager for a corporation. So when you say supplier or vendor or partner, it all means the same with regards to contracting with that corporation.
So if you do any kind of service or have any kind of product that you want to sell into a company, you are a supplier.
At that point, yes.
Awesome.
Yes. But all that is dependent on that relationship and primarily developing that contractual relationship.
Right.
Which makes you different from a business owner and then a supplier vendor partner.
Okay. And then Lynn, I often hear from folks, I hear it from women when we talk about the women's certification, and I hear it from minority business owners when we talk about, like, you can see I'm a woman, you can see I'm a minority. Why do I need this piece of paper that says I'm probably not saying anything you haven't heard before either.
Right.
So why do I need it?
Why do I need to be certified? We hear this all the
paperwork.
time. Why?
That is an excellent question. So basically, the certification provides the validation to say you are who you say you are.
Okay.
So in the case of our certification that we provide for the ethnic minorities, it indicates that you are owned, governed, controlled, and managed by at least one or multiple ethnic minorities that comprise at least 51% ownership, governance, control, and management of that company.
I think it's that governance control thing that's probably really important. Am I right?
Well, actually, all components are important.
Okay.
So you have to qualify in all the different categories, not just one or the other. So,
and I only say that because I imagine that somewhere along the line, somebody maybe had somebody with 50% on paper, but that was about it.
Yeah, probably
Exactly.
like sometime in history. Is this why certification is important? Because many companies were fronted by people?
yes. So the other reason
that conversation.
The other reason certification is important is that it does identify the front companies, and it identifies whether or not you're really owned by a minority company or a majority company, a non-minority company. So when corporations come to us and look to us to help them find suppliers, they rely on us to have have the MBE go through the process to say you are who you say you are. So that therefore they can feel comfortable knowing that if they decide to do business with an ethnic minority business owner, they don't have to worry about whether or not they're a front or a pass-through in that case, because they've gone through a very comprehensive, detailed, analytical process with me, the certification police, to make sure that when they get the piece of paper, then they are legitimately who they say they are.
And that's very important. And I was going to say that's very important for not just the corporation, because they have to check the box.
Right.
We know they have to check the box, but it's also important for that minority business owner. That sets you apart from other entities.
Because if you're already an ethnic minority and say, sure, you own your own company, then you're already a minority business owner. But to get the certification says that you've taken the extra steps, the extra effort to prove that you are really who you say you are.
And if I want to check the box and get credit for checking the box, I got to make sure that I'm checking it with the right kind of company.
Absolutely. Can't just
Which means
checking boxes.
That's the difference, I guess, when I'm looking at it as a business owner, between getting the business and not getting the business.
Well, and the other thing that we like to always make sure that our certified MBEs understand is that the certification is just a tool in your toolkit. We do not encourage our certified MBEs to approach any of our corporations and say, I'm a certified MBE, you have to do business with me.
Right.
No, because we recognize that our corporations expect that any business they contract with or have opportunities for, they have to solve a problem, they have to be competitively priced, they have to have the capability to scale, and provide great customer service.
It just helps as a differentiator, correct? This is I think this is absolutely, you have to get this certification if you want to do business with corporations. That's why I always tell people, if you're scaling a business and you want to get those contracts, they're not going to talk to you without certification. It's not in your best interest.
Well, and they will. Our corporations will ask you as well. They'll ask you if you have a certification and who you're certified with. So that's your opportunity as a certified MBE to say at that point, yes, by the way, I do have a certification with whomever it may be with.
So Lamonte, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You are one of these MBEs that have been certified. Tell us about your business.
Well, Regents Maintenance.
Give us a little bit of background about yourself first, because I think you came to entrepreneurship coming through from a corporate background?
From a corporate background, and just saw a need to provide more income to support my family. And when you talk about tuitions and things of that sort.
Amen.
And then also just found that I had a passion for what I do. And it's still today I have that same passion. And basically what we do, and this business started from the basement of my home, and we developed it, and now we have a number of employees, and we've grown tremendously.
Wow.
So we're excited.
What's the name of the company?
The name of the company is Regents Maintenance and Supply.
Okay.
Yes. One of the things that Mid-State has, and how they've impacted us, is just they give us an opportunity, a chance to meet various corporations and organizations and connect with them to do business with them. So we are very appreciative of those opportunities. Many times when we talk about connecting, we connect with corporations through many avenues. The Mid-State provides networking events. They've been very creative in providing bowling events where they bring together MBEs along with corporations and organizations. There have been various golfing events. Dinner.
We need to get invited.
Yeah.
Dinner. That's all we just heard.
I mean, really, come on now. I could do the bowling thing, but the golf is totally out. But eating, I got it covered. Let's be serious.
Exactly.
So when I talk about a creative, we've just recently had coffee with the council where we've sat down and talked to various corporations. But in my mind, what the key for us is just having an opportunity to converse with MBEs, corporations, and being a good listener. Just being in the room allows us to learn tremendously. So that is one of the very valuable parts of that. We just came back as of yesterday to our national convention where we were able to touch base with a number of prospective corporations and organizations. We went specifically with intention to reach out to many of those organizations and corporations.
Where was the national convention held?
The national conventions were, I'll let Lynn expound on that a little bit.
Oh, it's in Detroit.
Oh, cool.
And it goes until Thursday.
Okay. And that city is really expanding and growing by leaps and bounds, right?
Yes, it is.
And all 23 councils, affiliate councils, are represented there. So we had representation from Mid-States. Our president and CEO, Carolyn Mosby, was participating in that, and representative from all the other councils as well. So MBEs who feel that they do have an opportunity to provide products and service nationally, that is a conference they wouldn't want to miss.
And is that an annual event?
Mm-hmm. Every year.
Yes, it is.
So people, y'all need to go on the website.
NMSDC, National Minority Supplier Development Council. I said it takes some practice to say NMSDC. Don't try it on your first. Yeah, right. It's going to take some time.
But that's a great, like you said, opportunity to connect with other MBEs, to learn more.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes, it is. One of the things I think is really important to have Rhonda and Lynn available, they are listeners. So they listen to our challenges and they provide resources and offer training to help us get through those challenging moments when we're trying to enter into those corporations.
They wipe tears. They soothe boo-boos.
But I think that's, what are some of the challenges maybe you've had to face, or Lynn, what kind of challenges have your MBEs faced that you guys have provided some support, solutions, opportunities for? If you can give our listeners examples.
We provide training. So
give us an example of one of the companies that you have worked with and how that turned out.
Well, outside of working well with Lamont, we've worked quite a bit with Glenn Franklin with Franklin Graphics. He's recently participated in the Monsanto Mentor Protege program.
Oh, we know well. That's a great
program. We know that program very well, yes.
So through his connecting through that program, I'm sure he's received a wealth of education and knowledge to help him further his company. And I do understand that he did have a booth this year at the MSDC conference.
Yes, he did.
So he's taking advantage of that opportunity as well. I think the other thing outside of our training that we offer, and we've talked about the ability to connect with our corporate members. Every year we have a procurement conference in April.
What does that mean?
So that basically means is that we come together for a one-day event, and we have a matchmaker event, which is basically where corporations that have opportunities, either immediate or forecasted, come and have a table for chairs, and you'll sit across from either a category manager or a supply diversity individual and talk about specific opportunities that are coming up with the MBE that's in that respective space. We match them up through a database that provides a match based upon what they're looking for. So that's just one component that we offer that can provide, in many cases, media opportunity for the MBE to plan for their future growth of their company. So we also have professional development classes, training and development, and we may have a supply diversity panel where we'll have experts in the supply diversity field come in and talk to the audience in that space. We've had access to capital trainings where we'll have... That's, I think,
extremely important, right? Every entrepreneur is looking to grow their business, and capital is always in a need.
King and queen.
There have been cases to where one of our local corporate members, Citizens Energy Group, they may partner with us and have their own matchmaker session as well, where they'll invite individuals in for their own respective projects that they're having. Those are particular invitation-only events that they've had in the past. So that's another benefit of being certified by Mid-States, is because you could get invited to invitation-only events.
Before we go to break,
yes,
or maybe when we come back from break, maybe you can help us understand there are other certifying organizations in the area. And as an MBE, why should I choose your organization versus the other organizations that are that
And we'll let you answer that
when
in just
come
a
back.
moment.
Yes.
Miller Prost, CPAs and Business Advisors, is the proud sponsor of today's Entrepreneurially Thinking podcast, offering a full range of professional tax, audit, accounting, and consulting services. Learn more at millerprost.com. MUELLERPROST.com. Miller Prost, CPAs and Business Advisors, advising with vision.
Hi, my name is Lynn Haynes, and I'm the Director of MBE Services with MId-States MSDC. Entrepreneurially thinking to me means thinking outside of the box, understanding that the sky is the limit, and the only person that can get in your way is you.
Hello, this is Rhonda Adams, and what does entrepreneurial thinking mean to me? I have a 7-year-old who's always creating different businesses in her head, so it means to me having no fear and being able to be creative and innovative in exploring a desire or a thought that you have to create something that maybe the world has never seen.
So, Lynn, we were just talking about how there's all sorts of different certifications. I mentioned earlier I've had Kevin Wilson take me through the paces, and even with that kind of tutorial, it's overwhelming. So where do I start? And how do I choose this one?
So basically, the business owner will really need to understand who their customer is going to be. So if they want to work with private industry, if they want to work with either within the city or state government, if they want to procure potentially federal contracts, that's really going to drive and determine which certification they want to apply for. Whether they need to have one or multiple in their toolkit is really going to be up to them and who their ultimate customer is going to be.
Because you guys are a national body.
We're national, but we're also the certifying entity for ethnic minorities only.
Okay.
So,
Tell us what that means.
But that does mean that we can also certify women as long as the women are of an ethnic minority race. So African Americans, Asian Indians, Asia Pacific, Hispanic Americans, and Native Americans.
Okay.
Well, you don't fit, darling.
No. I gotta do the woman thing.
We gotta put you. Yeah, you're not fitting in any of those. I love you, but
we're sorry, Christine.
That's okay. Mom did the cheek swab thing this Christmas. We found out we were a few fewer things than we thought. We streamlined,
okay.
But yeah, it's all that European. Closest I come is Southern Italy, and even then,
it ain't working.
Christina
de Christine.
Hey, it's Christine di Christina.
That's it.
Because Christina di Christina would have been silly. And now it's Maxfield. Back off, lady. I'm going to go get my own special certification. And then y'all see. You're going to want my certification.
So Lynn's
like, I'm still talking.
Like everybody who ever meets us ever. They're like, oh, and now that you're done with your shtick, can we get back to what we're doing?
Exactly. Go ahead, Lynn.
So the business owner may very well find that they need multiple certifications.
Yes.
Depending upon, like I said, what their ultimate customer, who their customer is going to be. But yes, ours is national. So although we only cover part of 3 states, which I don't know why we cover part of 3 states, but we do.
It's the Midwest. They're big states. I come from New Jersey, small state.
So although we only cover part of 3 states from a regional perspective, the certification is national.
Okay.
So you can do business anywhere in the United States as well as Puerto Rico with a corporation, whether they would be a national corporate member or a local corporate member or another certified MBE, provided they're affiliated with the network.
Okay.
And you would another benefit is that you would get access to the logo for branding that says you're a certified MBE, and it would have the year on it. You would also get access to advanced management training programs that are offered by the national organization, and sometimes there are scholarships for those that you can apply for. Sometimes those are sponsored by our national corporate members. So there's a lot of different opportunities for the minority business owner wants to become certified outside of just receiving the local benefits that we would provide them to connect to our corporations and our footprint.
Okay. And just like we crack open networks in the St. Louis region by connecting people to individuals, it sounds like you're cracking open networks because you already know who's looking for what, doing what.
Exactly.
Contracting with suppliers. And I always find when you were talking before about sort of knowing the matchmaking, and you might have some invitation-only events, that just like in job situations, sometimes people are going to do things long before they put the job offer out. And in this case, some people are going to do procurement long before they put the call for suppliers out. So having that inside track to build not only the personal relationship, but know that, hey, this is the 18-month plan for so-and-so.
Right.
That's really big when you're looking at your own business. I'm sure you're seeing that in the work that you're doing, being able to
yes, I have.
Yeah. And so you also mentioned, you just have a passion for what you're doing. What was your corporate prior experience before you?
I served as a supervisor in operations, and then joined another organization as a district manager. And so I had a good feel for supply and purchasing and those things, and just took those learned experiences and carried them over into something I really enjoyed doing. I really enjoy being around people. So that was one of the things that I really like to do.
And how old is your company now?
My company is actually 18 years old.
Wow.
But it was a slow process.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of times you're working in your business just to try to grow it. And we wanted to be very strategic in how we grew the business. And today, we're reaping the rewards of just taking our time, getting capital, and having the capacity, the capability, offering the professionalism, and offering value to our customers. So
I think that's a great message, because a lot of times people think, you know what, I can jump out here and I'm going to grow in 2 years. You were very strategic about the business that you took on, right?
Yes, I
You
have.
started it in your basement, which I think is just,
Bootstrapping.
You're bootstrapping like most of what we always tell our young entrepreneurs. You got to have some skin in the game. So when did you join? How long were you in business before you got engaged with the Mid-States organization?
Well, Lynn had mentioned a gentleman by the name of Glenn Franklin at Franklin Graphics. He invited me to one of their events, and this has been several years ago. I don't have the exact date. I think I've been around with Mid-State Council roughly about 12 years.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he invited me to an event, and it's just been a wonderful ride.
So you were looking to scale your business at that time?
Exactly.
So timing matters too.
Timing matters. Yes, it does.
And Rhonda, you have other services besides, certification in and of itself is a process and builds a network and opens it up. But you were talking too about there's lots of other ways.
Absolutely. There's tons of value and benefits to being affiliated with the council. But if I can just mention one thing about working with Lamonte, as an MBE who is certified, his engagement speaks a lot to the success that he's had with his business. And as I tell the minority business owners, the diverse business owners that I work with, you have to really be engaged and connected with what's going on with all of the opportunities that are being provided around you to reap those benefits.
So don't just sign up.
Don't just sign up and be a name in the database.
Right.
Because a corporation is not going to get to know who you are, what you do, how valuable you are if you certify your business, but you don't engage.
Yes.
And as I tell Lamont, and he and I, we have conversations often about corporate responses. Sometimes it's like moving the Titanic.
Yeah.
Yep. Those relationships sometimes take up to 3 years to mature and to develop. But once you connect with them and you create those relationships, it takes a lot for a corporation to remove a supplier out of the supply chain than to add them. It's cheaper to keep them and work with them and develop them than to start all over again by looking for new suppliers to supply a product or service for them.
Absolutely. I read some that, for every diverse supplier in a corporate system, they add $3 to their bottom line.
Absolutely.
For every $1 that they have. So I think that, that is impactful within itself. I think I said that right.
Just adding on to what Rhonda said, I strongly believe that people do business with people that they know.
They do.
And like she said,
it's relationships.
It's relationships. We might have met a person 6 months ago and start the process, and that develops into whatever.
And I think what's so important, what you guys are all saying, companies develop new strategic initiatives, they develop new product lines. They might not have it there today, but when you are sitting across that table, either in a matchmaking environment or just having the relationship, what they're going to do is remember, you know what? Hey, I talked to Lamonte and he has some products that we're going to need maybe 5 months from now.
Yeah.
So that relationship that started 5 months ago can realize itself maybe,
100% correct, which speaks to those other services, right? So that certification piece is just one aspect of that. But how do you use that tool in the toolkit, as my colleague has said? And that is why our council was created, to kind of be that advocate. So what we do is we're providing access to corporations or with corporations for the MBE. A lot of times it's very difficult for them to navigate internally what that structure internally looks like within corporate America. So we have those relationships, or it's our onus to create those relationships so we can connect our MBEs, right?
So you don't get lost in the system.
So they don't get lost in the system, and so that they're having valuable conversations. Because what corporations are wanting, those that are committed, and I will stress that, because there are corporations who have diversity initiatives, and they may be on different levels. Some may be a little bit more advanced than others. And by that, what I mean is there are specific personnel and strategies that could be found in one corporation and maybe not another. And all of those things are what myself as an executive director, I try to understand that on behalf of the MBE, so that we can begin to create those relationships.
So you're making those connections meaningful, impactful. They're not just spinning their wheels, the minority business inside of a corporation, trying to find who's the right person I need to talk to.
Absolutely. And developing them with other programs that we have, like we've had an MBE University, we've had MBE CEO Academy. So there are things that we do to develop those that may need a little bit of assistance and support before they're ready to really service the needs of our corporate partners.
So what are the challenges that your organization, Mid-States, is facing right now?
Well, for us, a lot of times it's understanding the market. One of my challenges as an executive director, kind of being that support for the MBE and formulating relationships with corporate America, is finding out who's committed. A lot of this is driven from the top down.
Right.
Dr. Watkins, you know more. You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, and we're finding that sometimes even for us, it takes a little bit of effort to create those relationships, to pave the way for our MBEs. Market needs are different across the nation. So as regional affiliates, we need to understand what the market is demanding for specific segments or industries to be able to help our MBEs navigate effectively, efficiently, those opportunities.
So you're working with global organizations as well?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Global organizations, international organizations. We mentioned that we do have councils that are not just in North America. We have not just North America, the United States. We have the Canadian Council. We have a council that's in Africa as well that works with the NMSDC.
So a business can, once they're certified with you guys, they have the opportunity to sell in these different markets as well?
Yes, that is very true. One of the things that's very important, once the council makes that connection with these various corporations and organizations, as a business owner, we have to do our homework. We have to study those organizations and company. How can we offer value? Just recently, we secured over 110 locations with a local supplier throughout the 3-state market.
You mean your company?
My company has secured business with.
Wonderful.
Yes. And basically, really the part of it is finding their needs and then expounding on those needs, and that way you're offering value.
What's the value proposition that you're offering, right?
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
It's not always about price, but how can you offer value?
We might have to see if Lamont has any aspirations to be mentors.
I was just,
I'm just saying, like he has hit on like every major topic, like make time to work on your business, not just in your business. Make sure you align your value, do your research, build your relationship. Right. I'm like, okay, everybody just hang out with Lamont, and if you don't want to believe me, believe him. Okay,
exactly.
That's all. And also, I've been listening to the Hamilton soundtrack again, so all the thing that keeps going through my head is being in the room where it happens.
Yes,
got to be in the room where it happens.
And I am so pissed
I think
the tickets are sold out.
Yes,
well,
they are.
6 hours, everybody in St. Louis.
Relax,
the tickets
now.
were sold out.
Relax. It's going to be like Lion King. You can see it for the next 30 years.
Oh, God. And thus I defer to
says the woman who already saw it. Sorry. Cheap seats from a loving husband.
Anyway, now this is really good, guys.
Hole with Christy and Cheryl.
So I want to go back to what Lamont was saying on getting engaged with other entities. Maybe you ladies can join in, because I mean, have you gotten engaged with organizations outside of the U.S.? Has that happened for your company yet, or is that something you're looking to do?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, part of my objective in trying to be strategic when I went to our national conference is I had a couple goals out there, and one of the things that we did touch base with the Canadian Minority Council, and with our new product that I've worked intensively with some developers to offer these products to these very major supply companies. We're ready to expand outside of the U.S.
Wow!
So we're excited. We're excited about that opportunity. But one thing again is important. You have to be able to deliver.
Yeah.
And you also have to be able to follow up. You must follow up.
Yes.
Because those are some of the key components of. So that goes back to having that capacity, the capability to be able to deliver and offer value.
And it really looks like that in Rhonda and in Lynn, that you also have a team that expands your from what's internal to your organization to really support you. Because I think Rhonda's head nodding every time you mention something, like she already knew about that. She's like hoping you remember to mention it, kind of thing, which means that she's intimately involved in your business in a way that I don't think everybody fully appreciates as well. That if as you were saying, you get out of it what you put into it, right? And if you're more than just a name in the database, then you have people who are really pulling for you, not just because it's part of their job description, but because they're really part of your extended team. Yeah. And that to me is so valuable.
Yes. Yeah, it's a cheerleader.
And Lynn, she goes on, she has to do her site visits. So she has to become a little bit close and has an intimate knowledge with the product service offerings of our businesses. So between the two of us, what do we call ourselves, Lynn? Laverne and Shirley. We're old. We're old.
Shamil and Shemazel. Awesome. Incorporated.
And that's because we work in tandem, you know. And yes, the bulk of my responsibility lies in ensuring that our corporations are doing the thing that they should be doing. Right. Obviously, reaching their goals, creating metrics and goals, but not only that, supporting the economic development, business growth of our small and diverse businesses, and supporting the community. So I work very closely with the MBEs as well. So with the both of us kind of understanding the offerings and the value that our businesses bring, when corporations come to us and say, we have an RFP for a company that does such and such, yes, they have access to the database, but what do? As an advocate, they trust us. Right. Yeah. There's credibility there with the MId-States MSDC. So they rely on us to provide that positive feedback with regards to who should be the first person that is vetted through their procurement team.
And if you're just the name in the database,
well,
you don't get that upfront.
You don't get it.
You don't get that connection. So
exactly.
And there are times when I take off my certification police hat. My title is the Director of MBE Services. So on the services side is when I have the chance to work closely with Shirley, because she and her colleague in Indianapolis, Danica Thomas, who does the corporate relations and special projects and events. So a lot of times they will rely on me to give them insight on the MBE's business, because many times I'm the first person that sees the MBE because they're going through the certification process. Right. So I would know more intimately what they cannot do, the good, the bad, the otherwise, so to speak. But then that also provides resources for us to be able to help grow and develop the business owner, because
I was going to say you've seen it
in the process.
I think that is so helpful. It's like having someone, exactly, a coach that can help you shore up where you need to have your businesses shored up.
So we do have something that we recently implemented, and actually it was a best practice from one of our other sister affiliates, and we use it, we call it the 90-day to engagement strategy. And once the business owner has been certified, then there's a process that we encourage them to go through. It's a roadmap of saying you need to do this by this time, do this by this day.
The milestones.
Right. And then once they get to the bottom, we encourage them to do research on our corporate members that are locally within our footprint, as well as at a national level, to find out who they want to do business with. We have them to limit it to no more than 4, because we know that you really can't focus like you need to, because if one comes through, then you're going to be spending most of your time trying to get things ready for that one. But then we do have honest conversations. Once you get to the point to where you're meeting either with myself and either Rhonda or Danica based upon where the MBE is located, then we may say, you're not ready. Because we need you to do this,
That's
this,
tough
or this.
love.
Tough love.
Right. Or we may say you're ready to meet one of our local corporate members, one of our national corporate members, or one of our MBEs, because I think what sets our certification apart also is that they do not have to be a subcontractor. Any of our certified MBEs can be what's called prime with any corporation, as long as they have the capacity to deliver on what they say they can deliver on.
Well, I think if you walk away with anything from today's conversation is that this is way more than just about getting a piece of certification, a piece of paper that certifies. It's where it starts. It's where it starts, but it really is a way of opening a door to a much bigger network and to a much greater capacity for your company. So I'm going to let Rhonda have the last word.
Thank you so much. So again, on behalf of Mid-States, I want to thank you all, and I would be remiss if I think we mentioned all of our colleagues' name except for Ivan Baird. So Ivan Baird.
And he's my boss. We have to mention his
boss. Okay.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Ivan.
He drives the ship. He keeps the money rolling. He is our executive vice president of operation for Mid-States. And amongst us, Carolyn, myself, Lynn, Danica, and Ivan, we make up that Mid-States MSDC team based in Indianapolis and St. Louis. So we want to thank you again for providing us this opportunity to reach out to a national audience.
I just want to say this. If you are an entrepreneur just getting started, this could be a pathway that you might want to.
No matter where you are, because there's a regional chapter wherever you're at.
Absolutely. And they're not looking for the 19-year-old company. They're looking for companies all along the spectrum of development, correct?
Yes.
We can also certify startups, but the startup does need to be an officially established company either in Missouri, Indiana, or Illinois.
So the folks with the side hustle, y'all got to go get your paper, right?
Yeah. Well, another good reason to get it all in order. On that note, Lamonte, tell us where folks can find you if they want to do business with you. Where can we find Regents Maintenance and Supply?
We're located in Hazelwood, Missouri.
Okay.
Our address is 7220 North Lindbergh in Hazelwood, Missouri.
And your website?
And my website is www.regentssupply.com.
Excellent. Wonderful. And ladies, where should we direct folks who want to learn more about the certification and your wonderful network?
So I do offer free online briefings for pre-certification every month. The next one's going to be November the 16th.
Fabulous.
And they can email me at certification@MId-States with the S, MSDC.org.
Wonderful.
And
Great.
for those people wanting general information about the council and NMSDC, please go to our website, www.mid-states MId-States MSDC.org and learn all about us.
Fantastic.
There you go.
Well, that was a wonderful time well spent,
so fast.
as always. But thank you so much for making time,
Yes.
being with us, and having this conversation.
Thank you for having
Great
us.
conversation.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Changing the way you view new ventures, igniting your thinking about entrepreneurship. It's Entrepreneurially Thinking. Get connected and discover more. Visit our website for show notes, resources, information about our guests, upcoming events, and of course, all your favorite episodes. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them for us in the comment sections, and be sure to leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes. The best way to show love is to share. Let everybody know that you're thinking entrepreneurially. So visit our website, entrepreneuriallythinking.com. Hashtag ETHINKSTL. Entrepreneurially Thinking is another positive production of Rare Gem Productions. Thanks for listening.